Hi friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we are going to be doing the end of year book tag. So I've compiled a list of questions and I'm going to answer them with my 2024 reads. I will say most of these questions have multiple answers because I am indecisive and I can't just pick one book for anything, so bear with me. The first one is biggest letdown. So I will say for sure one of my biggest letdowns was Enemies. I saw this book and I was really excited. I thought it was just going to be a football romance and it was going to, that's it, that it was just going to be a fun football romance. And I don't know what happened. I think I was looking for more of a romance, and that's not necessarily what this book was. I feel like it was more about the main character and less about her relationship with the guy. I don't know. Overall, I just did not really enjoy this book at all. And then the other book was Mile High by Liz Tomford. Everybody loves the Windy City series, which, I mean, I do as well. But Mile High was not the introduction into the series that I needed. I did not enjoy that book. I ended up DNFing it. I don't know. The male main character just really wasn't it for me. I didn't love him. I liked him later on in the other books when it wasn't about him and Stevie, but like, their book just was not for me. Okay, so next is an underhyped book. I would say the second book in the Vancouver Storm series, which is The Fake Out. I loved that book so much. Like, it was so good. And I don't hear that many people talk about that series. But oh my gosh, that book was so good. The relationship between the two characters, the kind of hatred to love that goes on in that book, the understanding that they have, the chemistry, everything just hit so well for me. I loved it. He was such like an acts of service king, and love him. Okay, next would be books that surprised me. And I would definitely say The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I am not a big mystery thriller person, let alone a YA. So when I picked this up and read it in a day, I was so shocked, and I really had a great time, and I'm so excited to continue this series in 2025. Then I have To Sir with Love by Lauren Lane. This book was so cute. It was so cutie, like perfect rom-com book. It was so good. It was like, so this girl meets this guy on a blind dating website and really falls for him, only to later find out that he is actually her rival. And it's so cute. I had a great time reading this book, and I was surprised. And I feel like this book also fits into the underhyped books, for sure. Consider Me by Becca Mack, which is a hockey romance. You know what you're gonna get with a hockey romance. I feel like you don't usually fall in love with a hockey romance. You read them because they're fun and they're gonna give you what you need in that moment, but for some reason that book hit so well for me. I loved it. I went on and read the next book in that series, which was also really good, but the first book, amazing. I love it. The characters, their chemistry, the persistence that Carter, the male main character, has. Love him. He would do anything for that girl. Oh, I love it. And then I have The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I know that everybody loved this book. It took me so long to finally sit down and read it, but when I did, it was so good. I think this was the last book that I gave a 5-star for the year, and it was so good. I really just did not expect to love it the way that I did. As the book kept going on, like constantly I was like, oh my god, like putting the pieces together of this story and the way it all comes together and how it all just intertwines. It's so perfect. I loved it. Oh my gosh, I would read this again. And I want to read this again, and I want to annotate it because that was really good. Okay, next we have happiest book, which I would definitely say would be Wild Love. I was obsessed with this book. I read this book. I annotated the heck out of this book. I don't know, this book made me so happy, and the vibes were just so good. Ford Grant, perfection, blueprint for a man, if I've ever seen one. And I was absolutely obsessed. Also, I just feel like the female main character in this book is so happy-go-lucky that it was just, it hit so well. So on the other spectrum of that, we have my saddest book of the year. And my saddest book, for sure, has to be Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. This book destroyed me. Absolutely wrecked me. This is the last book for Magnolia Parks, and it was such a bittersweet ending because saying goodbye to Magnolia and BJ was really sad. And then also just the contents of this book, it hurt. It caused me actual physical pain. So, but also this was one of my 5 stars of the year. So, next we have books that I think are worth the hype. Don't come at me. Don't come at me. I think that they're worth the hype. They're worth the hype for me. Okay? So, first we have Binding and Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh. These books, specifically this book, if you read this book and the last pages of this book could also contend for saddest book also. But these 2 books absolutely, like, captured me. I was so sucked into these books. Once I started it, I could not stop. I instantly read Keeping 13 after I read Binding 13. And the relationship between Johnny and Shannon, unreal. Unreal. The emotional maturity that these children, these teenagers have is insane. I am so excited to continue reading the Boys of Tommen series if she's gonna keep giving me what she gave me in this book. Okay? Next we have none other than Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I was very late to the Fourth Wing train, but once I read it, it was over for me. It was over for me. I loved it. It was so good. It was so good. It was so good. I didn't know what I was getting into when I picked this book up. I knew there was dragons, and that was pretty much it. Which is the book, if we're being completely honest. But the characters and the relationships within this book, the plot twists, I'm also bringing Iron Flame into this. Oh my god. The end of Iron Flame. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Ruined me. I sat with my jaw dropped for like 5 to 10 minutes. And Onyx Storm is coming out real soon. And I don't know who I'm gonna be when I read that book. And then we also have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I read this book this year, and this did great things for me. I really enjoyed it. I read Powerful, and then I read Reckless. I absolutely loved Powerful. It was so good. I actually think I liked it a little bit more than I even liked Powerless, which is saying a lot. And I'm so excited for Fearless to come out soon. Okay, next we have my favorite series of the year, and this goes without saying, Magnolia Parks. Literally, this series took over my life after I read it. I think about these characters every single day. Not a day has gone by that I have not thought about Magnolia, BJ, Julian. Like, they live so rent-free in my head. If you have not read this series, please. It is quite literally the best thing that's ever happened to me. I don't know if I'll ever feel the way that I feel about these books about anything else ever again. if you want like a toxic relationship, toxic family life, all of the dirty little secrets, the rich. If you like Gossip Girl, if you liked the Addicted Calloway series, just make it British. The other series that I absolutely adored this year is the Windy City series by Liz Tomford, minus Mile High. The other 3 books in that series absolutely blew it out of the water for me. I loved those couples so much. I literally wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did because I didn't enjoy Mile High, and so I was nervous. But after like reading The Right Move, that book was so good. Ryan and Indy, adorable. Then going into Caught Up and then Play Along. Honestly, I don't have many words. Like, absolutely just the found family within it that starts to build within that story, amazing. Honestly, most of these books have great found families in it, and that's what's keeping me invested. I'm so excited to read the next book in the series that I believe comes out in 2025, which I don't know if it's, I guess it's the last book in the series, which, what am I going to do once it's done? I don't know. Okay, and then next we have a book I thought that I was going to love, but didn't. And don't hate me, please, but Normal People by Sally Rooney. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was about this book. I don't know if it was the structure, how it was written. I don't know, but I did not enjoy this book that much. I can see where people love this book, but something about it just didn't hit 100% for me. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something. But when I did watch the show, I could see more of the context, and I think maybe if I reread this, I would enjoy it a little bit more. Now we have favorite book couples, which there are a lot of them. So first up, we have Kai and Miller from Caught Up. That book was so good. That is my 5-star of the Windy City series. I completely adore those characters. Kai is everything. He's a single dad, check. Baseball player, check. I don't know, like, just perfect. Brianna and Jacob from Yours Truly, I loved them. Their understanding of each other and openness to be vulnerable was so good, especially with all that Jacob deals with, especially with his anxiety, and her being able to comfort him and make him feel more comfortable in situations in which he would usually feel anxious. I love it. This book really made me feel seen through Jacob, for sure, and so they were so freaking cute. Then, of course, we have Johnny and Shannon from Binding 13. These two, so cute. I need a Johnny Kavanaugh. Actually, I need all of these men. Please and thank you. Roll them up and put them in a real person. Need it. And then Olivia and Carter from Consider Me. They were so cute. Carter would do anything for that girl, and she loves him and puts up with his obnoxious, arrogant, loudmouth self, and it's so cute. It's so good. I love it. Books I wanted to get to but didn't. The first one we have is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I know people love this book, and I want to love this book, so I need to read it. I do plan on reading it in 2025. Hopefully. I do know that people say that this book takes a little bit to get into, and I feel like that's what's holding me back from actually starting it. So hopefully this year, or I keep saying this year, but I mean 2025. Hopefully I will be able to read this book soon. I want to read it within like the next couple months. And then the other book is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I've heard so many amazing things about that book, and I see that it makes everybody cry, and I like to cry. I like to cry. When a book can make me cry, that makes me happy. I don't know. And I want to cry while reading this book, so I need to do that soon. Next we have series that I wanted to get to this year but didn't. First one, Harry Potter. I want to read the Harry Potter series. I read the first book when I was in like 4th grade, and I watched all the movies when I was younger, but I don't really remember much. And so I've said before I rewatch the movies, I want to read the books because, come on, I feel like I need to do it. I do have 2 of them, but I haven't read them. And I have Dobbies everywhere because I love Dobby, but I haven't picked up the books again. Or I haven't picked up the books or watched the movies since I was a kid. So we need to do that. And then the other series is Throne of Glass. I really, really want to read Throne of Glass in 2025. I need to get to it, but I had to finish ACOTAR before I was going to jump in to Throne of Glass, so I still need to read A Court of Silver Flames, and then I will be starting Throne of Glass. So now let's run down some of my favorite female main characters. So, of course, none other than Miss Magnolia Parks. I feel like I related to Magnolia a little bit too much on some aspects, but she is queen. She is everything. I love Miss Magnolia Parks. The way her brain works, immaculate. Crazy, but immaculate. And I love her. And I just want to be her. I want to be Magnolia Parks, if we're being so honest. But I would also love to be Daisy Hates. But I think I want to be Magnolia more because of things that happen in the other books. That has nothing to do with BJ. If you know, you know. Favorite male main characters? Julian Hates. Julian Hates. Whoa. Like, there's no other words. Just Julian Hates. Like, that's the reason. Mr. Ganglord. Mr. The Great Undoing of My Heart as I know it. Xaden. Xaden. I feel like I'm saying them. Do I have to explain them to you? Mr. Xaden Ryerson. Who else? Kai Rhodes. Also Caught Up. From Caught Up. King. Love him. Baseball boy. Pitcher. Dad. That's it. Ford Grant. Blueprint for a man. Blueprint. Ford. I already said Johnny Kavanaugh. Johnny Kavanaugh. Need him, love him, want him. For keeps. For keeps. New favorite authors. I will say Miss Abby Jimenez, because I read all of her books this year. Well, not all of them. I read the Part of Your World Interconnected series this year and absolutely adored it. I've already talked about yours truly. Just for the Summer, oh my gosh, this book was so good. I absolutely adored this book, and I'm so excited to read Say You'll Remember Me that comes out in 2025. Stop. I'm gonna die. I'm so excited. Also Liz Tomford, because I absolutely ate up the Windy City series this year. It was so good, and I would like to read more of her books. I don't really know, and I haven't looked into her other books if she has them. I'm not quite sure. But I think I would basically read anything that she writes, as well as Miss Jessa Hastings, because she wrote my favorite series of all time at this point. I still need to read Never by her, and I do know she has another series, or no, book coming out in 2025 that's a standalone in some other, but I don't really know what it's about. But I'll probably read it. Okay. So now I'm gonna go through some of my favorite book quotes of the year. So the first one we have is, of course, in another life I reckon I could have loved you. which is Julian Haynes in The Great Undoing, as well as It's the Great Undoing of My Heart as I Know It. Any time that Julian Haynes speaks, I will cry. Any and every time. And then we have The Issue Isn't Whether He Loved You, It's How Much. Too Much. Love Can Be a Poison, which is Reese, and it's from Asimov. And then I have Finding a Favorite Character Was Discovering a Soul Made of Words That Spoke to Your Own, which was from Long Live Evil. Then we have The Beauty of Fiction is that it makes you feel things on a visceral level. You can cry with those characters, laugh with them. It teaches you to look at another's perspective, to have empathy. In nonfiction, you simply learn about something instead of feeling it, which is Indie from The Right Move. So then we have You Can Love Someone and Not Be Willing to Give Up Your Way of Life for Them. And then there are those who you love, who you'd take a bullet for. It's all the same emotion, just different levels, which is Just for the Summer. That is my end of year book tag. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't, you should check out all these books. I loved them very much. And with that being said, that is the end of today's video. If you want to come hang out with me again, hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.